I grew up in Colac. My name's Anne. I used to be a beekeeper 32 years ago. I started out with 1 box of hives, and then it grew from 1 box to 2 boxes to 3 boxes to 4 boxes. We ended up keeping 300 boxes of hives. We used to take them everywhere around Victoria. We used to follow the floral sources of the native trees. We had yellow box, grey box, red box. We produced our own manuka honey. A bee's life is 6 weeks. A queen bee lasts anywhere up to 6 years until she stings you. A drone doesn't have a sting. The drone's purpose in life was to mate with the queen about 30 foot up in the air. Once he had mated with the queen, he would go away and die. And if there were too many drones in the hive, the queen would kick him out. You weren't allowed to work bees over anything 30 degrees. Once Anzac Day come, you'd have to pack up your bees and lock them down for winter until spring. Once spring come, you would start off with your bees and you'd move them around. They'd swarm. My name's Anne. I used to be a beekeeper 32 years ago.
My name's Jodie and this is my story. My previous experience with singing started when I was at home playing Slim Dusty records. My favourite song from Slim Dusty was The Pub With No Beer. And then later on, as I grew up, I actually ended up going to the Starbeat Choir here in Warrnambool, and I enjoyed that. This is my story about Find Your Voice Choir. The choir is a group of people with disabilities. It is my greatest joy. This choir is like my baby. And with a mental illness, I have forgotten about my mental illness and I sing from the heart. It's also the greatest way to share your love for music with other people. The greatest joy was the Port Fairy Folk Festival, where we got 2 standing ovations. I also enjoyed the jam sessions that the choir put on. The jam sessions weren't structured, we just had fun. And the music has given me a lot of joy, and it's made me feel more like a person and get more involved into the community. Music makes me feel really happy inside, and it makes me get through every day without thinking about my mental illness. It makes me love life. Songs don't always have to be sad songs, they can be happy songs. And you can research the history of those songs and how many different styles there is, like reggae, jazz, pop, rock. My favourite rock is AC/DC because they are really powerful, and it makes me powerful, strong and fulfilled. My name's Jodie and this is my story.
I'm Becky. So I was in a dark spot for such a long time after losing my job, and I didn't know where to go, what to do. So it took me a long time to become independent. Before then, I had to have a lot of support. I had to have a lot of people. And then after a while got involved with Corinda, and then stuff obviously came along, and that just literally changed my life. It took me out of the black hole I was in for so long. It made me more powerful, made me realise I do have a voice. And I was able to tell my story to others, and hoping to encourage them to speak up about the issues in their life. So it has opened so many doors, like to employment, also to the ability to travel, to network with other groups. I remember one of the doors it first opened up for me was back in 2012, and that was the leadership program. It was called, they were very picky on who they were picking it. So I was very lucky to get in. I ended up going to Tasmania. We all ended up going to Tasmania to speak out conference. And so we flew over and I spent 3 days there at the conference. Around June 2013, we had our graduation, and our graduation was held in Canberra at the Parliament House. Yeah, that was a huge day for me, and I just couldn't believe that I actually graduated, and I ended up getting a certificate and a little badge saying that I graduated. And so that was like the best day of my life. I'm Becky, and that's my story.
My name's Mark, and this is my story. In 1986, I had left my job, and I come here to visit a friend for about 2 weeks. And 32 years later, I'm still here. 1981, I started work as an apprentice chef, and that took me up until 2006. Was told I had to give up work, so I decided to seek some volunteering roles. Having an interest in computers and always wanted to be with a radio station, Vision Australia was the logical choice. I started doing a bit of volunteering for the Talking Standard, which was a service they had where they would read the paper, which they would read into a tape and be sent off to clients. Living by myself in a flat, I thought I need to get a bit of social contact and get some fresh air. So I joined up with the community garden, which I did a bit of volunteering work there. Also, over the time, I cooked and helped serve up meals for a soup kitchen. This is why I volunteer. It gives you a purpose and a good social outlet. It gives you a lot of satisfaction knowing that what you're doing is making someone else's life better. And I believe by volunteering, it releases feel-good endorphins. I'm Mark. That was my story, and I'm very proud to be a volunteer.